And the Masters of the Universe.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 8th official He-Man and the Masters of the Universe YouTube episode commentary. My name is James Etok, and today I'm going to wax lyrical over the Season 1 episode, The Time Corridor. This episode was loosely based on the Filmation script premise, The Time Machine, one of the earliest episodes pitched for the series. In the original episode, Skeletor builds his Castle of Evil, which is an incredibly cool sounding name, in order to prevent the existence of Castle Grayskull. Now, the idea of building something in place of Castle Grayskull remains in the final script, in the final episode. Sadly, it does not sport a moniker as cool as the Castle of Evil, which is amazing. Why didn't they ever use that in the series? That said, even in the premise, Dragosaur Isle still appears, as does Zalora, although instead of being the leader of the Snake Clan, she is the leader of the Cave People. There was no mention of the Wheel of Infinity. Rather barbarically, He-Man's mission was to demolish the castle, and the script talks about He-Man pulverising Skeletor's Castle of Evil. Oh no, here, check out this title card background. This is the only episode to feature this background, which, as you'll see in the Dragon Invasion, the next episode, is an area located by Snake Mountain's Blood Falls. Oh, the opening music as well. I think this is the only time we hear this music played at the beginning of an episode. This up-tempo track really doesn't work with the slow pace of the panning shots. It's a unique choice, although it does create a sense of urgency, although the urgency culminates in seeing Skeletor tapping his fingers, which is not the most exciting shot in the series. Again, bizarre choice of music.
At last!
I have it, Skeletor.
Just going back to the earliest development of this episode, briefly, the Time Machine was a script premise that apparently 5 or so writers had tried to make work. Larry DiTillio was asked to fix it, so he daringly rewrote the entire script from scratch. Thus, the Time Machine became the Time Corridor, and Larry DiTillio started work on He-Man. A legendary career in He-Man. Let's talk about Fangman, baby. Let's talk about Fangman, baby. Let's not. Well, there's not much to say about the guy, to be honest. This was Fangman's only appearance in the series, although he was being touted as a regular evil warrior for a brief time. In the series Bible, it is stated that Fangman can breathe sleeping gas, much like Cobra Khan would do in the latter part of the series. At some point, he was almost definitely in Mattel's plans to be realised as an action figure, but like so many of their initial concepts, he just faded away. It's a shame, as I've always felt there was a lot of love for Fangman, more so than any other one-shot villains such as Strongarm and Isa. And now we're at the Royal Palace. Just quickly going back to that previous scene in Snake Mountain, I'll tell you about a deleted scene. After their villainous conversation, a large sequence removed had Skeletor, Panther, who was originally in the episode, Fangman and Triclops entering their own time corridor to Eternia's past, because, let's face it, we never actually see explicitly how they get back to the past. We know they do, but come on, let's see what happens. And yeah, now we're with the heroes as they enjoy a picnic. And as Prince Adam said, it's a marvellous day for a picnic, although it looks like every other day on Eternia with its green-hued sky. Orko doing another trick with a pie, although it looks like a giant chocolate cake, I don't know, and crushes Man-at-Arms to death. No, I jest, he lives, thankfully, and gets a good licking from Cringer. Nice animation of Cringer, though, by the way, as well. Slightly off model. Oh, Orko hiding behind a tree. If you look at some of the animation of Orko at the beginning of this scene, he has like a little weird trim around the middle part of his hat. Very strange. And as with the early episodes, in keeping with the series Bible, the Sorceress, in the form of Zor, summons the heroes to Castle Grayskull. In later episodes, she'd just sit on a throne and throw out a telepathic message or two. Far easier, right? I'll check out Castle Grayskull's drawbridge there. It looks like it's about to fall off. It's so badly positioned. Badly positioned. That's never a good thing. Also, listen.
Coming. There is danger lurking. Look into the window of time and see the danger.
Should make note that the music playing throughout this Castle Grayskull scene is the theme from Snake Mountain, or the Snake Mountain theme as we like to call it. Very rare. I think this might be the only time we ever hear this theme played at Castle Grayskull. Please correct me if I'm wrong, people. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I really hope I'm not wrong. They'll fire me. The Sorceress's speech always gives me chills in this scene, not because it's the most amazing piece of writing ever, but the way in which her voice becomes more and more urgent, as does the music, as she details Skeletor's plan, which culminates with Prince Adam doing that thing with his sword. Check it out.
What good will a fortress in the past do him?
The fortress protects the Wheel of Infinity. If Skeletor starts the wheel spinning, it will go faster and faster and grow larger and larger until it is fast enough and big enough to destroy this castle.
And Skeletor's evil will rule Eternia.
You must go back in time and stop Skeletor.
Then let's do it. By the power of Grayskull!
I was afraid this would happen.
As much as I hate talking over the transformation sequence, I'm sure we're all okay about that. Unless this is the first time you're seeing an episode, in which case he's saying, right there, he's saying, I have the power. The power is his. He owns it. And this is Battlecat, who actually says, Ra, and I have the power too, but with like a growly voice. Ah, yes, the sorceress talking in riddles here. Orko will know what to do about that.
I will? I mean, yes, of course I will. I hope.
Well, it's clear he doesn't know what to do about that, actually, Sorceress. Great animation of Orko in that scene as he kind of tries to figure out what Sorceress is talking about, and if you look, the animation perfectly matches his dialogue. Perfectly. Now, whilst this isn't a drinking game, spot how many times Man-at-Arms is illustrated holding his mace in this episode. Don't get me wrong, it's not hundreds, but it's more than the average Bear episode. There's one, for a start, look. And the reason for that is he was always illustrated in his model sheet holding his mace, but for some reason, certain animators or whoever would decide to include the mace. It's like, stop including the mace, he doesn't use it, except to save Skeletor. And now we get to meet Zalora, who's described in the script as looking a lot like Teela, and actually much of her character animation is based on Teela's rotoscoped movements. I have to give a huge shout out to the late great Lou Scheimer. While this may not be one of Orko's best episodes, Lou Scheimer does such a fantastic job voicing the little dude. Like, this upcoming piece of dialogue in which he attempts to remember the spell is actually as it appears in the script, and yet Lou delivers this complicated piece of craziness that it sounds like he's actually ad-libbing his way through it.
Scrabbledy-doo, shickledy-sham, shabbledy magic, wait, that's it. Scrabbledy magic, scribbledy-dear. And now by this magic, words be clear. You do serve the ghost face.
You do serve the ghost face. What a great line. I love that idea that Skeletor is referred to as ghost face. Skullface would make sense, but I suppose that's more of a jokey name for him. Now the Dragosaur attack. Good little action scene, nothing spectacular. But the Dragosaur design, as you can see here, the big purple beast, would show up in a few episodes of the series. However, further appearances were never as cool as this one. Yes, it's another monster, but it does feel like a great threat. Oh, yeah, Man-at-Arms had some weird issues with his blasters in this episode. It's never explained. And like, as you see, actually, quickly, Dragosaur breathes smoke, like a toxic smoke. I think the script describes it as, but I'd rather it breathe fire or something. But maybe that's too cliched. Maybe I'm just being such a damn cliche. But yeah, Orko is what I was going to go on about. Man-at-Arms blasters don't work. Orko's magic is now awesome. This whole deal with Orko's magic being awesome and Man-at-Arms blasters not working is never actually explained in the script. It just simply happens, as does the blasters randomly working again for Man-at-Arms later in the episode. If you actually listen to Zalora screaming, "Help!" I don't know why that came out as Penelope Pitstop. When she screams help, it sounds a lot like the voice Linda Gary performs when she voices Scorpia later in the She-Ra series. Man-at-Arms with a hook and ladder, randomly appearing from nowhere. Mind you, he's a man-at-arms, so that probably is about his person somewhere, or at least his armour. Oh yeah, so this shot here, hang on a second, doink, that one, of Orko next to the Dragosaur, that appears as an illustration as opposed to a sticker in the original Panini sticker album. Now in the illustration, for some reason, if you go back and look, it does look like Orko and the Dragosaur are really good pals. As a kid, I remember thinking, I hadn't seen this episode, I think, first time round. I remember looking at it as a kid and thinking, oh, Orko makes friends with the dragon. And then I finally see the episode and I'm like, the dragon's going to kick his ass. They're not friends at all. Ah, yes, and He-Man causes an avalanche, crushing the creature. But of course, He-Man would not cause death, so he informs us that should hold Wormface for a little bit. We hope, unless he actually has killed it. Oh, He-Man, you don't know your own strength. You're the most powerful man in the universe. That should give you a clue. And now, of course, He-Man has made for it. Man-at-Arms, put your mace away. You don't use it. So yeah, Man-at-Arms is his mace. I like the design of those guards. They're wearing like little hot pants. I don't know why I'm bringing hot pants into this. I just should be talking about Zalora's wonderfully designed armour. Swirls all the way, baby. It's all about the swirls. Oh my goodness, I've just noticed her headpiece. Those swirls are snakes that meet in the middle. Oh, I've just noticed that. He-Man's reaction there was like, James Etock, you muppet. Look, little swirls. Snake faces in the middle. That's amazing.
We'll be careful, and we do have surprise on our side.
Wait a second, I see Battlecat, Man-Arms and Orko, but who is this character, Surprise, who is apparently on your side? He or she sounds awesome. This scene between Skeletor and Olo, how do you pronounce it? Olo, takes place in their fortress, and yet the backgrounds are clearly Snake Mountain, unless we've taken a trip back to the future. McFly! Skeletor! Ah, the first of 2 bizarre references to toothpicks.
Give up, Skeletor, or we'll turn your fortress into toothpicks.
I love this little animation of Skeletor. Let's see you try it, fools! Let's get 'em for Eternia and Grayskull. No, this isn't He-Man karaoke. I'm not playing this game. Man-Arms, put your mace away! Right, here's Zalora and her guys who actually do nothing in this scene. Zalora does stuff. Ah, Triclops. I haven't even talked about Triclops yet. Although in typical Triclops fashion, you could actually replace him with a brick, albeit an evil brick, and it wouldn't make a difference. Because he's so devoid of personality in so many of his appearances. And this is coming from someone that likes the character a lot. I got love for Triclops. Man-Arms has got lots of... actually, he throws a lot of bolos and stuff in this episode. Never liked the animation of He-Man just leaping up the wall. It's a good angle, but it just looks so weird. It's like he just elevates to the top. And coming up is our second toothpick reference. Check it.
That club would make a fine toothpick.
The animation of Olo attacking He-Man here was originally used in Diamond Ray of Disappearance, but instead of Olo, it was Merman. One thing to note about the fortress is that in the script it's described as a perverted Castle Grayskull, and it's clearly not in this episode. It's just stone. Kind of dull, to be honest. Maybe the well is perverted. The well of perversion, or something like that. I do think Zalora's a great character.
And now for you, Ghostface.
Actually, thinking about the way Linda Gary voices Zalora, I get the impression that one of her original designs, and I don't have this isn't fact, this is just me speculation. I kind of think that the design that was presented to Linda Gary was of a snake-looking female, hence why Linda Gary's dialogue is very, if you listen to it, it's kind of snake-like. She doesn't roll her S's or anything. But there's definite, like, you know, it's a very hissy voice. Can't believe that snake headpiece. I've only just noticed that. That's ridiculous. Oh, Skeletor's set the mission. Come and rescue her at Dragosaur Isle. I know, Skeletor. How about not telling them where you're going? That would have been better, right? I love the way Act 2 just opens up and the heroes are going to Dragosaur Isle as if they had a map and it's like, oh yeah, here's where we go. Maybe we can suspend our disbelief that maybe one of the Snake Clan warriors was like, oh, Dragosaur Isle, you know, just cross the Sea of Rakash. Oh, I don't want to say that because that's a Series Bible reference and I never reference the Series Bible. Shh. So there's Triclops, keeping watch. Be sure to check out Skeletor's awesome throne in this scene. I like the idea that Skeletor just randomly has a throne in the past. It's like, I'm going to the past. I need a throne. I like the way Skeletor just evilly strokes that case that the Wheel of Infinity resides in. It's like, that's the sound his fingers make, not the weird sound I'm making. Look at that. Extreme close-up. Dragosaur Isle and all its backgrounds would later be used in the episode Island of Fear. Ah, an action scene with a hideous plant creature here. He-Man chopping off every single tendril, I believe that's the term, he can. And this scene, if you want to kind of overanalyze it, He-Man kills this creature, like this ravenous plant monster, by chopping off its tendrils and then it subsequently explodes. Thinking of the way the series goes in which He-Man wouldn't even harm a tree, you know, you shouldn't do that to a living tree. You think, is this going against what he stands for? Is it because this is an evil plant creature tree he's allowed to kill? I don't know, because this thing is just trying to survive, right? Or we're getting to the whole morality thing here. Not sure I'm comfortable with this conversation. I'm going to back out. Boom, I'm gone. I'm gone.
Oh, thanks, He-Man. That silly weed almost had me for lunch.
I like the way Orko is somewhat suitably frightened throughout this scene. Although I can't... This action scene with this crazy bug creature, crab creature, or whatever you want to call it, is... It's not particularly exciting. You know, Man-at-Arms and Orko are like, whoa, we're going to sit over here. And He-Man's like, come at me, you giant crab creature. Look at the crab creature leaping into the air, and He-Man just pushes it, and it just kind of looks a bit comical, to be honest. I'm surprised He-Man doesn't say, once he's back on his feet, he'll be okay, because we clearly saw the creature in distress there. I'm all about, like, the sanctity of life right now. Yeah, originally in this scene, I think it was this scene, Triclops was going to throw a boulder at the heroes. Now, if you go back to Diamond Ray of Disappearance, that seemed to be one of his talents. He had 3 eyes, and he was good at throwing boulders. Or at least, that's how it looked when Skeletor summoned him. So the heroes ascending the staircase, and here comes Fangman with these Dragosaurs that if you listen when they fly down, they've got jet fighter engines in them. They're like, Man-at-Arms getting another device from his hook and rope, bolos, and these are like bolos. These are like stone bolos or something. I always want to say bolo, but that reminds me of Enter the Dragon.
You'll all pay for this.
So yeah, Fangman and his Dragosaur seems to be his only trait in this episode. Master of Dragons. Here's something for your beauties to chew on, Fangman. That's not very nice. Yeah, so Fangman, throw a tree trunk at the Dragosaur. Fangman, powerless. In fairness, that's quite a fall. And also the Dragosaur's a trunk in that scene as well.
Hold it, Skeletor!
You're too late! This spell will trap her forever between time and space!
This is such a random little action scene. Skeletor just, charges this cage with evil energies and, He-Man, Man-Arms and Battle Cat, and Orko, of course, don't forget Orko, rush to her rescue. Stay back.
This cage is alive with Skeletor's magic.
It's a good little action scene, but I thought it could have been staged a lot better. It doesn't look as dramatic when you just see He-Man from behind, kind of just like yanking at the bars.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Oh, one thing about Zalora, if you listen to her voice, she sounds like a more pleasant-sounding Shadow Weaver. Obviously, Linda Gary voicing both characters. Now, originally, in this scene, a gem located on Zalora's forehead glowed, enabling the Sorceress to speak to the heroes. And then, possessed by the power of the Sorceress, Zalora raises her arms and transports them to the fortress, which would have been a really cool scene. This episode seems to go back and forward like crazy, because now we're back at the fortress. Oh, check it out. Top left. That's a Snake Clan member atop the turret. They're supposed to be the oppressed. He's not supposed to be there.
Get them! Hold them off! I'll stop Skeletor!
I thought my blasters might work again.
And now Man-at-Arms blasters randomly work. Yeah, fantastic work, Duncan. Yep. And now the episode final confrontation between He-Man and Skeletor. This is a very cool action scene, actually.
He-Man, you won't stop me now!
Skeletor, spouts his usual rhetoric. Is this one of the first time He-Man says Skullface? I like this because Skeletor basically tricks He-Man into activating the Wheel of Infinity with the Power Blast.
At last I won! The wheel spins!
It's like, He-Man, you dullard. What have you done? Skeletor's speech as well, very cool. Listen to it as it, again, like the Sorceress' speech earlier, it builds and builds as the music does.
No one can stop it! It will spin throughout time, moving faster, growing larger, until in years to come it will explode, destroying Castle Grayskull forever!
He-Man's solution here is actually, I think, very cool. It's like, well, if I can't stop this thing from rotating or spinning through time, maybe I'll just speed it up. Oh no, although in fairness, He-Man, you could have just destroyed the entire planet of Eternia. Who knows?
You've broken loose the time wheel! It will explode! You may have saved Grayskull, but you've doomed yourself!
So Skeletor flees to live another day or to come up with another scheme that will be foiled by He-Man. And when in doubt, He-Man, what do you do?
No time to dig my way out. Only one thing to do.
He-Man, punch it. Like when the roof comes off the turret and the Wheel of Infinity just levitates into the skies and explodes. Man-at-Arms with the miscoloured headpiece there. There's an orange part. That orange part down the middle should not be there. Someone should be fired. Although there's about 30 2 years too late. Here we go. Heroes arriving back to the future. I also like Sorceress's line about you have the thunks? You have the thanks of Castle Grayskull. It's like a nice little, yeah, Castle Grayskull is its own entity.
The Snake Clan and the Ape Clan will be friends again.
And together, they'll build the world that is our Eternia.
You have the thanks of Castle Grayskull, He-Man.
And the final shot, of course, of the Sorceress transforming into Zora and flying over Orko would also be seen, or was previously seen, in Teela's quest. Here she goes. It's my sound effect there. There she goes, over Orko. That's what I call real magic. The end. The end. And He-Man talks about travelling in time is impossible. He-Man, you've just ruined everything we just saw. I thought it was real. You big spoiler, He-Man.
In reality, no one can go back into the past. That's only make-believe.
What this episode does best of all is present to us an Eternia that we're unfamiliar with as the cast star, primarily due to the wealth of original backgrounds that are prevalent. Whilst the quality of the animation dips between good and bad, really bad in some cases, the storytelling and dialogue are really good. Larry DiTillio's first attempt at writing a He-Man script, gotta say, pretty darn good. It's not an amazing episode, it's not a classic, but it gives a taste of what's to come from the penmanship of Larry DiTillio. So that's it for this commentary. I hope you enjoyed my lyrical waxing, or waxing lyrical, over the time corridor. As always, leave comments below, like and share this video, and if you have yet to do so, subscribe to the most powerful YouTube channel in the universe.